Welcome back to Engage, everybody. These are your hosts, Kate Jones and Josue Davi. Today we have a very special guest, the manager of Studio 393. Nestor Winrush has been a major part of the hip-hop scene in Winnipeg, Manitoba for a long time. He's been a mentor for upcoming artists in the city, running workshops with graffiti art programming to educate our youth and just generally playing a big role in our community. He was also a big help for us here at Engage as well, helping us get connected to the radio station, and he was our first guest on episode 1. So Elliott Walsh joins us for our final episode today. Seemed only right. How are you doing, Ness?
All right, looking at the news, typing out things, making sure we got more equipment coming through at Gap and at Studio 393.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird time to feel optimistic about certain things, but the way the organization is working right now and our recent hires have been, it's actually lessened the psychological burden of what else is going on in this world. Just happy to have a good team of people around that want to do these exceptional jobs in the community. So yeah, it's just people. There's good people out there. Let's just put it that way. It's good to be around that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, we had you on our pilot episode, and when we last left off, Studio 393 was kind of no more, and it was not the most optimistic time for most circumstances at that time. Things have changed a lot now that we know 393 is being revived. What's that experience been like? How's this start of this year been compared to start of 21?
I know that when we spoke the first time, the idea of opening up 393 was just reopening it was just a pipe dream. It was just a dream, We were focusing more on our graffiti art programming location at 109 Higgins and the issues that were there of not having an accessible washroom and stuff like that. So, we hired an assistant manager, Brendan Galley, who is been doing some work with I want to say with Rind and with Take Home Manitoba, the BIPOC Arts House, as well as I believe with some Real Love people as well. So Brendan's been pretty good and instrumental of being the physical person in the space of setting it up in the last month, I should say, of getting it ready. The new Studio 393 is on the main floor of Portage Place, right by the Service Canada storefront there in the mall. We now got a bathroom. We have a bunch of sinks so we can wash our hands and wash the place whenever we need to and don't have to worry about our participants going out into the mall. And we just got a more controlled environment for, these pandemic times, but also for little kids. If they come into the space, they don't have to go back into the mall. And that's good. We want to be in-house as much as possible and not have kids losing out on a bunch of time from their instruction or the instruction that they're doing, and to feel comfortable in a space, not having to go and venture out into the world of strangers ever so often, because that could be quite a daunting task, even if they have some supervision going with them. It's better just we have it in-house, and so that's good. We opened up for the first time on Wednesday the 15th, I believe. I could be a day off, and that was good. But we're dealing with another surge of Omicron now, and so we're holding off a little bit and going into the holidays too. And at least the space is there. We're getting new furniture courtesy of some work with EQ3. So we thank them very much. And some donors supplying some funding for some equipment as well. We got some new laptops. We got some new recording equipment. It's good. It's good. We got a library that we're setting up as well. Thank you very much to some donors there. And I want to say the Winnipeg Foundation and Mac for always being supportive of what we're doing. And this is there's some good stuff happening, And I know we set aside some money for making the space more accessible, especially when it comes to using the bathroom. I'm a wheelchair user, and that's really important. So, it's the community needs spaces like this to be creative and to be able to meet up. We're just trying to make the best space possible that we can with what's available to us. And we can't wait to be able to talk to people face to face, but also do more of our Zoom um, workshops as well. That's not going anywhere because that makes it accessible to everybody in the city and in the province.
Definitely sounds like you guys are on a roll with the new spot and have things kind of going. And unfortunately, yeah, like the new restrictions coming in, seems like you might have to hold back a little bit, but it sounds like you guys, got your plans in place, which is really awesome. Of course, the old location's been closed for quite a while now. And as somebody who used to be involved in the programming growing up, I can definitely attest to how important it is for the community to have a spot like this. In your own words, why is it so important to have like 393 open to the community and a place where people can go?
Well, I answered it somewhat in my last long-winded answer. It was important for us to keep it central. I mean, like there were requirements that I had on the list and some other staff, but definitely it was about keeping it central. It was about having the bathrooms. It was about having the sink so we could make sure that it was clean as much as possible and safe for all of our participants to be using and staff. Like I want people feeling comfortable when they come in those doors. And if they're participating in workshop for an hour or they're recording for an hour or whatever it may be, they at least feel safe in that space, not just in terms of like a 360 degree of safety. And that means like emotionally, just medically, physically, that's in that space, they can just be, the spaces like 393, and I'm not just saying 393, like this interview is about Studio 393, but this is more than 393. This is any space that caters to youth and caters to community and people meeting and people doing what makes them feel, I don't want to say productive, but makes their spirit feel like it's alive, and or to help them deal with certain situations that they can't be open about quite a bit, to get something off their chest, or to be around people with common goals, but also common backgrounds that they come from as well. And being able to have those conversations in a safe place. We hired a social worker who is also experienced in some counseling, so we'll see how that goes. But he's been a good source of support for our staff already, and we'll be offering some workshops with him, just on more of the mental health side of things. And we have prior partnerships with a person like Jillian, but just again on more mental health based workshops and finding support for yourself, but also being able to know the tools of developing a good relationship with yourself and with others. Like really good stuff that we have coming down the lines. So, it's I always say it's more than these spots provide opportunity for people to perform, for people to do exhibits for the first time with art, for people to dance and showcase and that's great. It also can help you to learn how to organize these things and when you wouldn't be able to in school or if you're out of school. But it's really about the community. It's about people talking and growing together genuinely. And then the spin-off is all these great people, participants, staff, they spin off to other organizations or to other work and bring these principles or these ideas they've been exposed to into those workplaces. And one thing, and I've been in my home for almost 2 years now, like rarely going out. And that's also because of just the nature of my disability and also just immune compromised as well. One thing that this whole pandemic and stuff has really shown me is and had time to think about it and read about it and our interconnectedness. We're all related. It's all related. We weave into each other's existence and we have to acknowledge that. And places like this, like 393, that's what they do. Informally, that is what they do. They acknowledge all of our interconnectedness. And if homie's doing well, I'm doing well. If the other homies are doing well, I'm doing okay. If the other homie is doing okay, then homie C is doing okay. Everybody's being raised up, no matter, and they're being met. It's important to meet people where they're at. And I think that these programs, that's what good programs do. They meet people where they're at and no expectations. You just grow with it. And like any good relationship, it serves its purpose and then you move on.
100%. It's absolutely a network for myself personally. Like it was kind of my introduction to a bunch of major circles, large circles in our community that seemed to grow too, like over the years that I was coming by. Definitely seemed to be growing even during that time. I know the reopening is still quite new, but have you started to see any new faces at all coming through the space like that?
Just, you know what, we're in a busier part of the mall, and I'm just going by like some of the employees, what they've recounted, and it's some old faces coming back. Because I mean, you still gotta, because we're a recreational space, we have to do the contact tracing and signing up people when they come through the door, so it's, and limit the number of amount of people that we can have in there. But it's a lot of the community and parents just going by the door and seeing what we're doing, and some older participants and former staff actually being happy that we're open, and to see what the future holds in that space. So we're excited to do stuff because we already have Unity lined up with us in Toronto, and we're going to do our dance workshops with them in February. And we did a trial run at another location in the West End when we couldn't use 393. And those kids, there were a lot of new faces, and they wanted to be, it would be just easier for people to be central location, which is Portage Place 393. So yeah, you know, I mean, we have working relationship with like Gordon Bell and a few other schools in that area. And like, I want to say that being in the center of things really does help. It really does help. It makes it all attainable for young people to get down and to use our facilities, you know? So it's a place that's always alive. It's a place that's always alive. And it's funny because I got to give a lot of credit to the staff that kept things floating and online, and the trial and error. It's not the same, you know, it's not the same, but to provide those services and outlets for people to use, it's important. But with what kept this place alive and what will keep it alive, and it sounds cliche and lame, but it's really the people that attend. It's the participants' energy. It's their willingness to be vulnerable. It's them wanting to share. It's showing up even once a month, but doing your piece, you know? If you're even just sitting there and just hanging out, you're part of the team, and you have value, you know? And staff is great, but without the participants, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Definitely. Yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense. You know, just the people make so many things go around when you're involved in something. It's makes a really beautiful picture once everything's put together.
Yeah, it's true. It really is. The word beautiful is a good word to use to describe it. Anyone that does this type of work, you know what that means. It's actually beautiful because it's human beings, and us communicating and giving space to each other. It's good stuff. Anyways.
Yeah, definitely. What would be the best way that people can support you guys going forward, supporting the studio? What route should people take?
You know what? Who knows what's going to happen with this pandemic, like in terms of what our economy is going to be like afterwards. And what programs they're going to get money still from the government or from funding organizations. So, I mean, you could always go and give a donation directly to us, but I would strongly encourage people to give donations to like the Winnipeg Foundation or the United Way, because those are the organizations that fund big organizations like ours. And when the chips are down, hopefully they have enough money to be giving organizations like ours some money. And I say like ours, there's a wide range of community organizations that always will need funding, and some will be in better situations than others. So just give to Winnipeg Foundation and make sure that Mac always has money. Just if you have the means to give to any of these organizations that you firmly support in your community. Don't be shy. any amount helps. Any amount helps, and it makes a world of difference. Not to just to It makes a world of difference from staff being feeling like they're supported and having the supplies and equipment to work with who is the most important, the participants and the community. And that's what's important. There's so many things that are missing in schools and that are taught and that youth don't have access to. And it's like our organizations, that's where we step in. We're a supplement to that. And it's nice to have good things for the participants, people that we care about, and the strangers off the streets that soon become well-valued people in our communities. Our organization, our community of participants, I should say. Like, yeah, this is bigger than graffiti art programming. It's bigger than Studio 393. This is about us all helping each other. And Kate, and I know you get it, and Josh, like y'all do your own funds and helping out the community in ways that you can outside of like graffiti art programming, but also like helping out with graffiti art programming. But you find ways to have purpose and to give back to the community in ways that help. And like an organization like taking it global, like they need funding too. Like if you got the means, just keep in mind that you want to give to these organizations. It goes a far way. Trust me.
Is there anything in particular before we get to wrapping up here, kind of events or just anything in particular you'd want to plug and shout out like that?
This is going to go on, I believe this is the 23rd of December. So we'd be shutting down until January.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's just how we do. We're just over the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
We just close down usually, except for some special programming that's been requested, but that's mostly private stuff anyways with other organizations. So, I mean, when January comes, we will have, we're focusing on a music month, like some workshops with different organizations like Birthday Cake, Manitoba Film and Music. Just questions if you have about funding or projects that you're working on, and how to apply for grants and things like that, and what it looks like, as well as like tips on not just marketing, but tips on like how to organize a stage plot and how to do an advance properly and things of that nature to help you out. And then in February, we're doing something focusing more on like Black history, because it's Black History Month. And we'll have some films courtesy of Winnipeg Film Group, as well as some lesson plans in there as well, some speakers. And then in March, I won't get that far into it, but we're going to focus more on literary advances and people that are writers and want to be published, and illustrators as well, just finding out how that all works, and just trying to connect people in the community to professionals that are out there, and to answer their questions. We're currently in the middle of after school leaders. We got some new cameras, which is pretty awesome, and we have a short film and storytelling unit that we're working on, and we'll resume that in January. So if you're listening to this and you are between, or know somebody that is between the ages of the high school ages, so that I think is about 15 to 21-ish, please get in contact with us. info@graffitigallery.ca or 204-667-9960. Again, that's 204-667-9960. Yeah, we got some good instructors, guest instructors. What's kind of cool though is all these organizations have learned to pivot, like how to do stuff in person and how to do stuff online. Even though online is less accessible, but still it is accessible, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's technology, not everybody can have it, but lots of people have phones. So creating a short film on a phone is something you can do as long as you have the room to do it. And I was noticing also there was, like, to be slightly morbid, but I mean, I don't want to trigger anybody, but just recently I attended a funeral of a family member, and I did it online. And I went to the viewing like in person because there was hardly anybody there because it's a viewing, you got to keep it moving. But the funeral was online. And then my partner was just asking, like, why weren't we doing this before? Like, people that live so far away from a loved one that passed away, and then they have to jump on a plane and all that stuff, when really there should be a choice. There should have always been a choice. Once the technology existed of, all right, I got my whole family that lives, say, in the US or something like that, or in England, and I'm talking from the Caribbean experience. So just say that. And then it's like, you got family that's in the Caribbean. So you leave your family, or all you can afford to go, because that's real. You can't all afford to go, but the rest of the family has to not be able to hear the stories and all that from the passing of a loved one. That seems so cold. And when I attended this funeral, I realized, like, this is how it should have been for at least like 5 to 7 years of us having this kind of technology. It's the describing video, like just putting the IDs on pictures from Instagram, everything becoming more accessible, working from home, being able to do your job, the job you love doing, and being able to do that from home, or the job that you just need a paycheck from. So it's more of the disabled community has access to jobs now. Like I go through such awful moments of anxiety, and I know so many other people do, like people in my family and participants, of anxiety issues, and how that stood in the way of not just work, but even younger, of being in school and not having that alternative being offered to you, is, I find, ridiculous. The world needed to change, and it still does. And I hope that all of us are doing our part into changing this world to a better place, and more fair and equitable and accessible. I'm on a bunch of tangents. It's just makes me think of all these other things.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand. It is interesting, like you were talking about the funeral thing, like having an expectation to, spend a few $100 on or more on like a last second plane ticket when you're already in a not great state of mind, grieving or things like that. Definitely get what you're saying. We are about to hit the end of our time pretty soon here, so I think we'll wrap things up here. As we do, would you like to pick our song that we end out on?
Lord of mercy. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna look at what I've been listening to lately. All right. I'd like for y'all to play something from Brother Resistance, who is a rapso artist that is rapping calypso from Trinidad and Tobago, just in honor of my aunt that passed away, and all the people that come from Belmont and Trinidad, which is a really important area that produced a lot of independent and liberated African thinkers into the world. So, Brother Resistance, I'll text you guys with the song title.
Yeah, okay.
There's one that I really like, and I can't remember the title right now. And I can't pull it up on iTunes because I haven't listened to it just recently.
For sure. Yeah, just send that to me. I'll get it going. Well, Ness, for second time, thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and chop it up with us. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm really excited to see the future of Gap and 393.
Oh, thanks. Oh, you know what? I need to also plug. We got Annie Beach, who was the assistant manager, but stepped away for working on her own practice a lot more and doing more of that hustle. But we've been working on this project called Artist Action, and I'm pretty excited about it. So that's for the schools. Like, it's about the calls to action and creating art based around it with elders and knowledge keepers in the Indigenous communities. And yeah, we're just looking for a few schools that want to be a part of it. And so just hit us up at info@graffitigallery.ca, and the number that I gave before, 204-667-9960. We're trying to start off in January, but February is cool too. And we'll just be in your schools for a few weeks and come out with a mural and have some great conversations, some healthy conversations based on the calls to action. Yeah, like, dang, it looks really good. So that's another program that we're all working on, and shout outs to Any Beach for really putting in time into that program.
Absolutely. Shout out to Any Beach, 100%. And yeah, this has been 101.5 UMFM Engage. Our host, Cade Jones and Josue David. We just spoke with Nestor Windrush of Graffiti Art Programming and Studio 393. Thanks so much once again, Ness, for doing this.
Thank you all for making sure that the community had a place to talk and to connect with the public in another way. Like, this is going to be permanently documented and available for audio for people to pull and listen to whenever they want. And that's really important work. I hope that you all learned a lot from this experience, not just on the interviewing side and assembling a radio show, but knowing more about the city that you live in.
Definitely did. Absolutely. It's been awesome, and it's definitely been a great experience. So yeah, this is our last episode, folks. So hope you've enjoyed the show. Peace out.